with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary this morning.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
We'll get to those stories in a moment, but first, some areas waking up, see a little bit of snowfall overnight.
Yeah, a little bit of snow, a little bit of sleet, more of that mixture this morning with some of those temperatures struggling to get right below freezing early today, but that'll change later on this morning. Let's take a look at those current conditions out there right now. First off, on the Yorkville Battery live radar, and notice here some locations are seeing no snow at all, but inside some of these very small pockets of blue, for example, right here, or some of these smaller ones less than a mile wide, there is some pretty intense blowing sleet and snow inside them. So these did produce a light dusting of sleet on, for example, the arterial in downtown Utica on my way into work today. But this is not a long duration event. This will pass through Little Falls, the Mohawk Valley, and parts of the southern valleys over the next hour or so, and then things will wind down. But you can see right here, for example, in Piseco or Whiteface, even in Herkimer, the snow, or the sleety snow, I should say, is blowing sideways and causing reduced visibility. But beside that, things are going to trend on the quieter side throughout the day today. 34 in Rome, 32 in Hamilton, 24 degrees up in Saranac Lake. And the next 12 hours, see those temperatures dip following this passage of a cold front. And we'll remain below freezing today, and we'll see another cold day tomorrow. But the trends leading into next week, we'll see a bit of a warm up as well. So we're tracking what we can expect not only for today, but this weekend, as well as that warm up next week in that full forecast. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning,
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Friday morning. The time now is 5:11, and heading out the door today. Well, early this morning, you might encounter one of these areas of, I would say, near whiteout conditions with some blowing sleet and strong winds. Now, on the traffic cameras early this morning, most of the area is not experiencing it, but in these very isolated pockets here and there, this could cause some brief slowdowns. But of course, most of central New York in the green here on the traffic tracker early today, and no incidents to report as well. The radar right now is showing that pocket is now exiting Little Falls area down through I-90, entering St. Johnsville. Again, inside that band, there is some pretty heavy sleet and stronger winds, as well as this band heading into parts of the I-88 corridor down in Oneonta. But following this is the cold front that's going to cool things down today and into the weekend. So we're going to see a bit of a colder stretch between today through Saturday and Sunday, but warmer days are ahead in the wake of this cold front, and we'll talk about how warm we get next week in that full forecast. Ben?
all right, Eric, thank you very much. We're approaching the one.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Today, starting out a little busy with the passage of a cold front, but throughout the day today, weather looks mainly on the quiet side, just a little bit on the blustery side. Downtown Utica, live view right now. After a round of sleet and snow, things have quieted down, and of course, the roadway is still a little damp. We are still technically above freezing in the city as we speak. We're in the low 30s, 34 with cloudy skies at Griffiths and Rome. However, look at that, strong wind of 23 miles per hour from the west-northwest. So, of course, in the wake of this front, winds have picked up. And you can see the outline of it right here, passing through now Speculator, parts of Hamilton County, and now entering St. Johnsville in Montgomery County as this continues to move its way to the south and to the east. Zooming out, in the wake of this cold front, of course, we're going to bring in colder weather. This is arriving from the northwest, and this will supply us with enough cold air to see some snow showers in parts of the area tonight. Some measurable accumulations will get to that snowfall forecast in a few minutes. But I want to show you how long this cold air is going to last in the wake of this cold front. It's not too uncommon for late February, early March to see these type of temperatures, obviously. But we go down from the 30s to 20s tonight into tomorrow, 20s for Monday, and then eventually we're back into the 40s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So this is a short-term cold stretch, and as we head into the middle of next week, warmer days are ahead. So the bigger picture, in the wake of this cold front, we're going to see cold air move in, and of course the potential for snowfall accumulation with the passage of a low pressure system that moves through tonight and into tomorrow. By the way, we're still not done with lake effect. Yes, there's still potential for lake effect on Saturday. In fact, let's zoom in here and show it in the Skycast. So today, in the wake of that cold front, things are quieting down. This evening and tonight, we'll see again, quieter conditions turn to a few areas of snow showers, primarily north of the Mohawk Valley. We're seeing these highs today remaining relatively above freezing for the most part. We're not actually going to cool down all too much until a secondary front passes through Saturday as we go from the 30s down to the 20s. This will usher in some scattered snow showers, eventually some scattered lake effect snow bands, as by 5 p.m. Saturday, wind chills are likely in the single digits. So we're going to cool down quickly, potentially below zero Saturday night into Sunday as that Arctic air moves over us. A quieter but still windy day for your Sunday. And then again, things do eventually warm up. So when it comes to accumulations from this snowfall between tonight and through tomorrow, Saturday, 2 to 5 inches for the most part up north, traced it to south. There could be some isolated spots that pick up a little bit more from that lake effect trailing it, but for the most part, again, things are going to be a little bit on the colder and windier side for the next couple of days. The high for the day Saturday in the morning, we're falling down into the teens by the evening. A high of 20 on Sunday, a low of 0 Sunday night, and then begins the warm up with some rain and snow chances by the middle of next week. We'll be right back.
With the now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
That snow, a few areas seeing some flurries this morning. That's on the way out. What's it being replaced by?
Being replaced by colder weather and even potentially more snow tonight.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. But don't worry, we're not looking at a whole lot of snow, at least in the Mohawk Valley. Maybe the North Country will see most of it. But let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. And as we take a look at the radar, we are tracking a few areas of blowing snow and sleet for the most part. Again, the Mohawk Valley is still slightly above freezing, so the snowfall isn't quite snowfall technically, as those flurries are more ice-like. But we can see the passage of this cold front right now in the wake of this this cold air moving in. You can see some of these spots here seeing blowing snow and sleet, but this does wind down throughout the morning. A look at the cameras across the upstate New York area and the Mesonet camera network. You can see, of course, some spots reporting some snow or sleet blowing sideways, but these are, of course, in those isolated pockets. In the wake of this snowfall, things are going to quiet down today. Temperatures will remain in the 30s initially, cooling down below freezing, then warming up again as an arrival of low pressure will drag in a south wind. So although we cool down initially this morning, we'll warm back up again this evening and tonight. But again, following that, we'll see a cold front move through tonight into tomorrow, and that will cool things down even greater as we head to Saturday into Sunday. So this weekend's looking cold, looking a little snowy in some spots, but it's not the long-term trend. We have a look at what we can expect beyond this weekend into next week, and that, of course, is coming up in that full forecast. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast. It's never more than 10 minutes away. President Trump
2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sunrise on this Friday morning. We are showcasing our photo of the day today, and this one takes us to Lee. Shout out to everyone who lives in Lee this morning. This is your photo submitted by an anonymous viewer, and the title went Snow Love. And I guess play on words there as well, but a great sculpture here of the snowfall that was able to be shaped into a little bit of a heart there as well. And of course, there's a lot more snow melting now, but this photo was taken about a week or so ago. So amazing photo submitted again in the town of Lee. If you would like to put your town on the map, showcase a snow sculpture, a winter photo and whatnot, you can send it to the link right there on the top of your screen, wktv.com/weather/pics. There you have a chance to have your photo submitted and have it featured not only right here on News Channel 2 at Sunrise, but on all of our social media platforms. So today, well, it starts out roughly above freezing. We're going to cool down early this morning in the passage of a cold front, but things will warm up again later on tonight as low pressure moves over our area. We've got roller coaster temperatures. I'm going to ride us through all that roller coaster coming up in a few minutes as we take a look at what we can expect through the weekend and into the start and middle of next week. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Layoffs under the Trump administration.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Today, we're dealing with some early morning snow and sleet and some strong winds. And we've got a roller coaster of temperatures the next few days, and we're going to explain how it shapes up heading into the weekend and into next week. Downtown Utica, live view right now. Temperature sitting right above the freezing point at 33 degrees at Griffiths and Rome. Strong winds at 21 miles per hour makes that feels like temperature also down to 21 degrees. And the radar is showing a cold front moving over the region. Now, inside some of these pockets, of course, some pretty intense blowing sleet. This one is actually moving through central Herkimer County and parts of Old Forge right now, and the last one exiting the Oneonta area. But following this, things do quiet down early today. We can zoom out here and see that following this cold front, things will cool down for the morning. But there's a different story that takes place as this secondary low will move into our area. It'll drag in a south wind, warming things up tonight before we cool down again for tomorrow. And so that temperature trend, Saturday morning, is actually the warmest time of the day for the weekend. We actually cool down throughout the day, wind chills into the teens and single digits, and then into the 20s by Sunday, eventually warming back up into the 40s by Wednesday of next week. So you can see here goes that cold front, passing snow showers, quieting down, then snow and rain as that south wind moves rain and snow into our area through tonight into early Saturday, and then lake effect snow moves in Saturday afternoon. And so to our skycast today, following that early morning snow, things cool down by around noontime. Temperatures are going to be in the 20s, but watch this wind begin to shift more southerly, and we'll start to see those temperatures climb by 5 p.m. into the upper 20s to low 30s, eventually seeing a return to some scattered rain and snow showers across the board, as overnight we're in the upper 30s. By 6 a.m. tomorrow, 30s across the board, initially some rain showers. Here comes this secondary cool front. This one is stronger. This is going to move through. We're going to cool down quickly into the 20s by noontime, into the teens by the afternoon, and we're going to monitor the potential for some reduced visibility from snow squalls or even just areas of blowing snow as this lake effect moves through the area heading into Saturday evening to Saturday night. Of course, you can see here Sunday shaping up rather cold, at least initially, potentially below zero. 2 to 5 inches potentially up north tonight into early Saturday morning. Trace the 2 in areas to the south. This is, of course, driven by upsloping, so we'll keep a close eye on that. But your 7-day forecast following Saturday night, we're down into the single digits, 20 the high on Sunday. And after a cold morning Monday, we'll eventually warm up into the 40s by Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. So for now, a cold stretch, but warmer weather is on the way.
So it's that, once again, that central New York roller coaster of weather that never seems to end.
A battle of two seasons right now.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Eric, thank you very much. Hundreds of small gestures.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
A lot to get to this morning, but first, the most important thing of the day, the weather. Some snow moving out. Any slippery travel left over from the blast of snow we had this morning?
Yeah, we have a few spots that has a light layer of sleet on the road, but of course with no additional snow and sleet expected, that's going to continue to improve throughout the morning. But look outside right now. Let's see where that snow and sleet is falling. And as you see right here, the passage of this front is continuing to move its way out to the east and to the south, which means that things are going to start to quiet down throughout the day today. So again, we'll take a look right here, zooming into parts of the area that did see some of that. And inside these darker blue zones, there is blowing snow and sleet, some strong winds in the passage of this front early today. And we can see, for example, in Paseco with the snow falling somewhat sideways, that's the conditions that were present inside some of these bands. But of course, that's going to continue to wind down throughout the day today. Temperatures struggling to remain above freezing in the Mohawk Valley, now down to 32 in Rome. And we'll see those temperatures continue to fall throughout the morning and into the early afternoon, but then they rise again. We are mentioning throughout this morning a roller coaster of temperatures, and we'll see that for the next several days, going up above freezing, below freezing, above it again, and whatnot. We're going to explain exactly the timing of it, and along with those temperatures, if we see any rain or snow with it, that of course is coming up in that full forecast. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning, a tentative...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise, everyone, on this Friday. The time now is 6:11, and heading out the door today, well, you could encounter in areas, or at least a couple areas, of some snow-covered roads, but that looks to improve throughout the morning as, of course, no more snow is expected during the early hours today. A look at the current conditions across the board. A lot of damp roadways as that snowmelt continued overnight in a lot of spots, but this morning we'll see those temperatures begin to fall. But that really won't affect roadways all too much. A lot of green across the board. Only a few slowdowns to some outlying hilltop areas early today. So right now the radar is indicating the passage of a cold front right here. This is producing some whiteout conditions in parts of Hamilton County as we speak. It's going to enter the Fulton County area momentarily, but beside that, things are quieting down for much of central New York and the Mohawk Valley as we speak. And in the wake of this, again, those temperatures cool down, then warm up temporarily, as we'll see a mix of rain and snow tonight, followed by the potential for some reduced visibility as snow showers, lake effect snow moves in tomorrow, along with stronger winds and colder weather. We have a look at that, plus the full look at that weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. We're approaching the 1 month mark.
Swell your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity. The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Friday, everyone. Today we are tracking a cool down, followed by a warm up, followed by a cool down this weekend. You got roller coaster temperatures the next few days. And we're going to break that down in a lot more detail. Let's take a look outside right now in downtown Utica. Some clearing, partial clearing under general overcast out to the east. Let's just take a live look right here in the city of Utica as we speak. The temperature sitting at 32 in Rome. Strong winds, strong west winds early today. That feels like temperature dropping down to 20 degrees. So some stronger wind gusts are aided by the passage of this cold front moving through the area today. And again, in the wake of this, the snow showers do end and things quiet down for much of the daytime today. Zooming out, we can actually see the outline of this front right here. Notice that's somewhat of a bowed shape right here as well. Cold air follows it, but it's not going to sustain itself that long. Notice here we got another system out to the west. This is going to bring initially snow and even rain in parts of our area heading into tonight. But also aided with it is a south wind, which will warm those temperatures up temporarily by tonight and early tomorrow. So as you see here, Saturday, a high of 38. This happens in the morning. It cools down throughout the day Saturday with high, or at least the temperatures going down into the teens by Saturday evening. Then Sunday, it's another cold one. The high for the day at 20. Overnight lows will be in the single digits or near below zero in some spots. Then we're up into the 20s by Monday, and then before you know it, we're into the 40s, nearing 50 degrees by Wednesday of next week. So when we're talking about roller coaster temperatures, you go from potentially below zero Sunday night to a high of 50, near 50 by Wednesday. So the reason why we're seeing these differences in temperatures, we're pretty much in a battle zone of fronts and air masses. You can see here that cold air moves in, those pinks out to the west, and then we'll see that pink zone remain in our area through Saturday into Sunday. But then look at that sharp increase. Beyond that, much warmer weather moves in by the middle of next week. But for now, to our Skycast, actually we could see some partial clearing today with some sunshine peeking out. Following that, here comes some snow showers tonight. Rain in the Mohawk Valley switching over to snow, but I don't think there'll be a whole lot in terms of accumulation from this system in the valley, a little bit more to the north. A stronger cold front arrives tomorrow morning. That'll bring with it the return to some lake effect snow. We're going to keep a close eye on potential reduced visibility and whiteouts inside some of these snow bands here Saturday, but again, we'll play it by ear. Then it's cold Saturday night into Sunday, and then Sunday itself looking mainly quiet, but just overall pretty cold. 2 to 5 inches to the north, trace to 2 inches to the south. This is from today through Saturday morning. There could be more on the snow on the way heading into Saturday afternoon and evening. And so your 7-day forecast following that cold stretch this weekend, we're back into the 40s, nearing 50 degrees by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So a tale of two seasons for this weekend and next week.
Yeah, as usual for Central New York.
Yep.
Never better. All right, thank you very much, Eric. And if today's your birthday, have a great one. Here's the cast. It's Friday, February 28th, 2025.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Let's start this half hour. I look at the forecast. You can see those clouds starting to move out of the area. What's coming in its place?
Now, but before I get to that, I do want to emphasize the tower cam there in a second. I know that as we get closer to springtime, my favorite thing is seeing the valley there start to spring with a lot more green. And it happens quickly. You see a very faint green tinge, and before you know it, it's all dark greens. So I'm looking forward to that.
To see it.
But for now, it's still cloudy and cold, and even some locations seeing some snow. Let's take a look out there at the radar right now. What can we expect today? Well, a lot less when it comes to snowfall. This is the passage of a cold front right now, so we're seeing the leading edge of it producing some scattered snow showers along that line. Most of it is right along the Hamilton-Fulton County line, almost identical to the border right there. And in the wake of this, things quiet down for much of the day today. Look at the area across central New York and the Mazinet camera network. A lot of clouds, even some peaks of sunshine here and there, but for the most part, general cloudy skies are expected early today. Temperatures will also slowly cool down this morning from the 30s into the 20s. We will dip below freezing, but then we warm back up again heading into this evening and tonight before cooling back down yet again throughout the day tomorrow. So we've got a roller coaster of temperatures the next few days, the best way to describe it. And we'll see, of course, a few peaks of sunshine today, otherwise mostly cloudy skies and high temperatures this morning. We actually cool down into the 20s initially, then back up into the low 30s by this evening and tonight. We have a look at the conditions you can expect throughout this weekend, plus the potential for another warm-up by the middle of next week. A full look at that forecast in the minutes ahead. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. President Trump will be hosting...
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sunrise on this Friday morning as we take a look at our photo of the day today. This one takes us to the town of Lee. Shout out to Lee, just in northern Oneida County. And within this photo here, the photo was titled Snow Love. A bit of a play on words there with the sculpture of snow that was built here. A great job by the anonymous viewer who submitted this. Of course, if you took this photo and you want to receive credit, you can just email us weather@wktv.com, because of course there's no option on the system to submit your name aside from it. But if you do want to submit your photo with your name for credit, in the photo itself, they're in the description of the photo you submit at wktv.com/weather/pics. You can include your name in the description of the photo, and that's how we use it to give you guys credit. Again, a lot of hard work with a lot of these photos here, and again, there's so many photos we get submitted to us, and it's great to give out credit when credit is due. So thank you for these submissions, and of course we have a lot more next week. Today we're dealing with colder temperatures into the 20s after this early morning thaw, and then we'll be back up again tonight. We've got a roller coaster of conditions over the next few days. We're going to break that down in a lot more detail coming up in that full forecast. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. Layoffs under the Trump administration have
York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. On this Friday, happy Friday and happy final day of February. March, believe it or not, begins tomorrow as this month has just flown by. A look at the Cavey Tower camera looking over the Mohawk Valley. A great shot of the clouds from that cold front exiting out to the east, and some blue skies and clear skies over our area for now. Let's zoom into downtown Utica right now, where of course you can see that cloud layer out in the distance. And early today, we're actually going to see a lot more in terms of clear skies than even clouds for the time being. 32, hovering right around the freezing point at Griffiths and Rome. Strong winds in the wake of this cold front. The winds have been pretty gusty. And with some of these snow bands that passed through the area earlier today, they are continuing to exit central New York, and in the wake of this, things will look a lot more quiet throughout the day today. The reason is, as we zoom out a little bit, here's that cold front. You can see the outline of it, somewhat of a bowed shape right here, and then following that, colder air moves in. It's not very cold, just colder than what we've experienced over the past couple of days. But as this moves over our area and we cool down, we quiet down as well weather-wise. Our next weather maker is actually out in the upper peninsula of Michigan. As it moves its way east, it'll bring rain and eventually snow to our area. So when it comes to temperatures in the next couple of days, we actually start out in the 30s tomorrow morning. We cool down throughout Saturday, a high of 20 on Sunday, a 27 high on Monday, and then here comes that warm spell by the middle of next week. And I'll show you why. Here's the bigger picture. This cold front drags in some colder air, not initially that strong, but the secondary low, the secondary cold front, see all these pinks and purples? That's that Arctic air moving in. But as we continue throughout the weekend, notice this sharp gradient behind this. Lots of warm air is going to move its way in heading into next week. So this is only a temporary Arctic blast. But as you look at the weekend, as we, at least throughout the day today, before we get to the weekend, final day of February shaping up blustery, cold, but mainly dry. This evening and tonight, we'll see the return of snow to the areas to the north and some rain showers in the valley, switching over to snow by early Saturday morning. This is the stronger cold front that rolls through, and in the wake of it, we're going to see some scattered lake effect snow bands. This could cause some reduced visibility. We'll keep a close eye on these throughout the weekend, but just a heads up, early heads up. Also, on top of that, those temperatures do fall quickly down into the single digits and below zero by early Sunday morning, and then eventually into the 20s by Sunday afternoon. Snowfall between today through Saturday morning, 2 to 5 inches to the north, trace to 2 to the south. There could be, again, more accumulations from these lake effect snow bands throughout the day tomorrow. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But again, the next few days shaping up rather breezy and rather cold. The high for the day again in the morning on Saturday, cooling down into the single digits Saturday night into Sunday night. And then following that, a warm up by the middle of next week.
Roller coaster again. We keep talking about it.
Yep, battle of the seasons right now. Can't quite figure out what season it is at this point.
Yeesh. All right, Eric, thank you very much. Hundreds of small gestures.
Friday, happy final day of February. March 1st begins tomorrow, and with it, still an early return to some colder weather for the start of the month. But for now, let's take a look at what's going to go on today. Now, the cold front earlier this morning swept through the area, producing a mix of sleet and blowing snow. Now, this cold front is passing to our south and east. In the wake of it, colder air, not very cold, but colder than what we experienced yesterday, moves in throughout the day today. But as we turn the page this evening, our secondary system, we're bringing some snow to parts of northern Michigan, moves its way into our area as early as this evening and tonight. And that'll, of course, bring snow primarily north and a mix of rain and snow in the Mohawk Valley. So we've got a pretty interesting temperature trend the next few days. Let's start out with today. It starts out in the 20s and then cooling down into the low 20s before going back up into the 30s by tonight with the arrival of that low pressure system. Then by Saturday afternoon, these 30s will cool down to the 20s and teens. It's a very cold night Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday's high of 20. It's the coldest day of the next few as we warm up into the 20s, mid-20s by Monday. And eventually, look at this, approaching near 50 degrees by Wednesday. A difference of nearly 50 degrees over the span of a few days as Sunday night is expected to fall near or below zero. So what's causing this? Well, here we are with that cold front, as I just mentioned, moving through our area. It's a weaker one. It's not going to influence temperatures that greatly. But following this low pressure system that arrives tonight and early tomorrow, this drags a stronger cold front. Notice all these pinks and purples here. That's that Arctic air moving in. And as quickly as it arrives this weekend, notice one thing. This is what we monitor in meteorology when it comes to temperature trends. This sharp, almost vertical gradient here, that indicates there's a massive change in temperature in the wake of the system as it moves east. Beyond that, we've got a lot of warmer air moving in. So this is only going to be a temporary cool down for this weekend. But inside this cool down, there could be some impactful weather. So throughout the day today, mainly quiet, few peaks of sunshine throughout the morning and afternoon. High temperatures initially this morning have cooled down below freezing. We'll see it warm back up again to the 30s overnight tonight. So as you see here, mainly snow up north, a few flurries and sprinkles and even light rain showers in the Mohawk Valley. This is going to be a wintry mix for parts of the area. Then here comes that stronger cold front Saturday morning. In the wake of it, temperatures cool down quickly. And on top of that, we could see some snow bands here that could produce whiteout conditions. So again, we're going to keep a close eye on these throughout the day. These look to wobble their way through the Mohawk Valley by the late evening and overnight hours. But for now, the main focus beyond that will be those temperatures that fall below freezing, or I should say below zero, in parts of the area by early Sunday. Sunday looking cold, mainly quiet with high temperatures, potentially not even reaching 20 degrees, only in the teens and single digits with some of those wind chills. So when it comes to snowfall accumulation, most of that snow does accumulate north of the Mohawk Valley in the North Country, with trace 2 inches in areas to the south. This is one of those systems where there could be snow falling, but it's going to be difficult for that snow to stick in a lot of those areas. So your 7-day forecast, a mix of rain and snow overnight tonight, switching over to lake effect snow Saturday. And then following that, a cold day on Sunday with sunshine, a low of 0 Sunday night, and then warming up quickly into the 40s, nearing 50 by the middle of next week.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, Central New York. Happy Friday. Happy final day of February. March 1st begins tomorrow, and with it, still an early return to some colder weather for the start of the month. But for now, let's take a look at what's going to go on today. Now, the cold front earlier this morning swept through the area, producing a mix of sleet and blowing snow. Now, this cold front is passing to our south and east. In the wake of it, colder air, not very cold, but colder than what we experienced yesterday, moves in throughout the day today. But as we turn the page this evening, our secondary system, we're bringing some snow to parts of northern Michigan, moves its way into our area as early as this evening and tonight. And that'll, of course, bring snow primarily north and a mix of rain and snow in the Mohawk Valley. So we've got a pretty interesting temperature trend the next few days. Let's start out with today. It starts out in the 20s and then cooling down into the low 20s before going back up into the 30s by tonight with the arrival of that low pressure system. Then by Saturday afternoon, these 30s will cool down to the 20s and teens. It's a very cold night Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday's high of 20. It's the coldest day of the next few as we warm up into the 20s, mid-20s by Monday. And eventually, look at this, approaching near 50 degrees by Wednesday. A difference of nearly 50 degrees over the span of a few days as Sunday night is expected to fall near or below zero. So what's causing this? Well, here we are with that cold front, as I just mentioned, moving through our area. It's a weaker one. It's not going to influence temperatures that greatly. But following this low pressure system that arrives tonight and early tomorrow, this drags a stronger cold front. Notice all these pinks and purples here. That's that Arctic air moving in. And as quickly as it arrives this weekend, notice one thing. This is what we monitor in meteorology when it comes to temperature trends. This sharp, almost vertical gradient here, that indicates there's a massive change in temperature in the wake of the system as it moves east. Beyond that, we've got a lot of warmer air moving in. So this is only going to be a temporary cool down for this weekend. But inside this cool down, there could be some impactful weather. So throughout the day today, mainly quiet, few peaks of sunshine throughout the morning and afternoon. High temperatures initially this morning have cooled down below freezing. We'll see it warm back up again to the 30s overnight tonight. So as you see here, mainly snow up north, a few flurries and sprinkles and even light rain showers in the Mohawk Valley. This is going to be a wintry mix for parts of the area. Then here comes that stronger cold front Saturday morning. In the wake of it, temperatures cool down quickly. And on top of that, we could see some snow bands here that could produce whiteout conditions. So again, we're going to keep a close eye on these throughout the day. These look to wobble their way through the Mohawk Valley by the late evening and overnight hours. But for now, the main focus beyond that will be those temperatures that fall below freezing, or I should say below zero, in parts of the area by early Sunday. Sunday looking cold, mainly quiet with high temperatures, potentially not even reaching 20 degrees, only in the teens and single digits with some of those wind chills. So when it comes to snowfall accumulation, most of that snow does accumulate north of the Mohawk Valley in the North Country, with trace 2 inches in areas to the south. This is one of those systems where there could be snow falling, but it's going to be difficult for that snow to stick in a lot of those areas. So your 7-day forecast, a mix of rain and snow overnight tonight, switching over to lake effect snow Saturday. And then following that, a cold day on Sunday with sunshine, a low of 0 Sunday night, and then warming up quickly into the 40s, nearing 50 by the middle of next week.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, Central New York. Happy Friday. Happy final day of February. March 1st begins tomorrow, and with it, still an early return to some colder weather for the start of the month. But for now, let's take a look at what's going to go on today. Now, the cold front earlier this morning swept through the area, producing a mix of sleet and blowing snow. Now, this cold front is passing to our south and east. In the wake of it, colder air, not very cold, but colder than what we experienced yesterday, moves in throughout the day today. But as we turn the page this evening, our secondary system, we're bringing some snow to parts of northern Michigan, moves its way into our area as early as this evening and tonight. And that'll, of course, bring snow primarily north and a mix of rain and snow in the Mohawk Valley. So we've got a pretty interesting temperature trend the next few days. Let's start out with today. It starts out in the 20s and then cooling down into the low 20s before going back up into the 30s by tonight with the arrival of that low pressure system. Then by Saturday afternoon, these 30s will cool down to the 20s and teens. It's a very cold night Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday's high of 20. It's the coldest day of the next few as we warm up into the 20s, mid-20s by Monday. And eventually, look at this, approaching near 50 degrees by Wednesday. A difference of nearly 50 degrees over the span of a few days as Sunday night is expected to fall near or below zero. So what's causing this? Well, here we are with that cold front, as I just mentioned, moving through our area. It's a weaker one. It's not going to influence temperatures that greatly. But following this low pressure system that arrives tonight and early tomorrow, this drags a stronger cold front. Notice all these pinks and purples here. That's that Arctic air moving in. And as quickly as it arrives this weekend, notice one thing. This is what we monitor in meteorology when it comes to temperature trends. This sharp, almost vertical gradient here, that indicates there's a massive change in temperature in the wake of the system as it moves east. Beyond that, we've got a lot of warmer air moving in. So this is only going to be a temporary cool down for this weekend. But inside this cool down, there could be some impactful weather. So throughout the day today, mainly quiet, few peaks of sunshine throughout the morning and afternoon. High temperatures initially this morning have cooled down below freezing. We'll see it warm back up again to the 30s overnight tonight. So as you see here, mainly snow up north, a few flurries and sprinkles and even light rain showers in the Mohawk Valley. This is going to be a wintry mix for parts of the area. Then here comes that stronger cold front Saturday morning. In the wake of it, temperatures cool down quickly. And on top of that, we could see some snow bands here that could produce whiteout conditions. So again, we're going to keep a close eye on these throughout the day. These look to wobble their way through the Mohawk Valley by the late evening and overnight hours. But for now, the main focus beyond that will be those temperatures that fall below freezing, or I should say below zero, in parts of the area by early Sunday. Sunday looking cold, mainly quiet with high temperatures, potentially not even reaching 20 degrees, only in the teens and single digits with some of those wind chills. So when it comes to snowfall accumulation, most of that snow does accumulate north of the Mohawk Valley in the North Country, with trace 2 inches in areas to the south. This is one of those systems where there could be snow falling, but it's going to be difficult for that snow to stick in a lot of those areas. So your 7-day forecast, a mix of rain and snow overnight tonight, switching over to lake effect snow Saturday. And then following that, a cold day on Sunday with sunshine, a low of 0 Sunday night, and then warming up quickly into the 40s, nearing 50 by the middle of next week.
With Ben Kinney.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And some beautiful weather moving in after a dreary couple of days in the area, but it's deceiving, and I found this out the hard way. It's still very cold out there.
Yeah, the cold, the wind, that's something else to deal with today. But yes, the sun is shining, though, and it's a stronger sun angle as well. And even if we are below freezing, sometimes that stronger sun angle will heat surfaces up enough to where we can still see some snow melt, even though those temperatures are in the upper 20s. A live look at downtown Oneonta right now, matter of fact, facing the eastern sky. In the distance, it's the South Side Mall. Temperatures early today, again, ranging in the upper 20s across the board. So the radar right now still looking mainly quiet. A few flurries are falling in parts of Chenango County. They were reported in Ithaca moments ago. With that weather station down there as well. But again, zooming into these temperatures, we are hovering right below freezing in the Mohawk Valley, 31 Little Falls, and in Westmoreland, in the 20s up in the North Country. So it's rather cooler up there. And because of these lower temperatures, when we start to see eventually some snow and rain later today, it will be mainly snow up north and a mix of rain and snow in areas to the south. You can see these much warmer temperatures above freezing in some spots to the south. So the next 12 hours, we actually warm up, believe it or not. We're in the 30s and 20s right now, but we climb into the upper 30s by the overnight hours in the Mohawk Valley as initial rounds of snow switch over to rain. But again, there is more accumulation expected in areas to the north. We have a full look at that forecast coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. A tentative deal to end the work stoppage.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. It's our final day of February, and it ends rather quiet, but March comes in like a lion. We'll show that in a second. But now let's take a live look at our Cavvy Tower camera. A few clouds passing through in the wake of a cold front. It's a cooler day, a breezier day, but things are shaping up rather quiet. We are tracking, though, the arrival of some rain and snow as early as tonight. Temperatures currently sitting at 28 in Rome, a little warmer at 30 in Hamilton, even warmer down in the western portions of New York State and the Finger Lakes areas. But here today, mainly quiet. A few flurries starting to fall in parts of Shenango, Otsego, and Madison County as we speak. And this is all driven by a separate system following this cold front that moved through earlier today. All this cold air in place, with a Clipper system arriving, is a good recipe for some snowfall, but primarily north of the Mohawk Valley. The Mohawk Valley and areas south will not see a whole lot of that snowfall accumulation as those temperatures remain on the milder side with that strong south wind tonight. So we do start out in the 30s tomorrow morning, but that's the warmest it'll be all weekend long. We cool down throughout the day, winds pick up. It's going to be a cold evening, cold overnight, and a cold Sunday. But following lake effect snow Saturday, things quiet down for Sunday. So you have any plans, although it might be a bit on the cold side, Sunday's your better bet. And I'll show that weekend forecast in a second. But in the wake of this cold air moving out, warmer air moves in. High temperatures peaking near 50 degrees by next week. But as you can see here, a tale of two different days, although, of course, the common thing here is these colder temperatures. Windy with blowing snow Saturday, cold but sunny on Sunday. So what's the reason for this? Well, we have this Arctic air moving in the wake of this low pressure system. This is dragging all that cold air indicated by this pink and purple. But notice here, in the wake of this cold air, look at these very almost parallel lines out to the west. This is warm air that's going to move in following this. So this cold Arctic air is temporary. It only lasts this weekend. So as you can see here, quiet for today. Snow and rain moves in tonight. Mainly snow up north, a mix of rain and snow to the south. A stronger cold front rolls through tomorrow morning. That'll bring those temperatures below freezing and, of course, the potential for blowing snow. I don't think there'll be a whole lot in terms of accumulation from this, but the winds will be strong and the snow will be blowing almost sideways in some spots. But again, this does end by Sunday. But those temperatures, bitter cold to start the day, and it's a cold afternoon with high temperatures barely reaching the upper single digits, potentially even the upper teens. So it's a cold and windy Sunday, but again, a lot more quiet. So with accumulations, most of that snowfall sticks in areas to the north, to the south. It's just too warm, surfaces too damp. It's going to be very difficult for that snow to stick. But again, following this weekend in this cold weather, things warm up quickly into the 40s and upper 40s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, with even more potential for snowmelt as well as rain showers. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. We're back with News Talk. I'm joined by... Good afternoon. Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
All right, it's game day. Comets back at home at the Aud tonight. How's it looking out there? Not too bad temperature-wise.
Yeah, well, it's in the 30s. It's not atypical February weather.
Yeah,
and
it's hockey weather.
Hockey weather, right? It's right. Hockey night in Utica.
Yes,
and hockey
sir.
weather, and it's hockey town. I know the Dasher boards advertise that. It's a great thing to showcase in those games.
I love those sports, but
yeah,
those
they're
are
amazing.
Unbelievable. If you haven't seen them, you need to go to the Adirondack Bank Center and see them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's
Again,
so cool.
Yeah, so the forecast today, well, at least this evening, I should say, you head out to the game, cloudy skies, temperatures in the low 30s. We're going to slowly climb above freezing throughout the overnight, so we could see an initial round of snow. It's not going to be heavy snow, but potentially a light coating on the ground, and then that switches over to rain as those temperatures climb throughout the evening and overnight. So if you're heading out to the game tonight, I would say grab that typical winter jacket, but you don't need to bundle up too much. It's not going to be that cold out. Only on to live view right now. Clouds have moved in. Radar still looking mainly dry, but again, a few flurries falling in parts of the southern valleys near the southern tier. Temperatures in the upper 20s to mid 20s in the North Country, upper 20s to low 30s in the Mohawk Valley, and a little warmer as you head to the south. So today, mainly going to be dealing with temperatures warming up. We're in the 30s, low 30s early this afternoon. Upper 30s overnight. That snow switches over to rainfall, and we're going to see a mix of rain and snow before it turns over to all snow tomorrow. We're tracking strong winds, lake effect snow, and cold temperatures for the weekend, but it doesn't last too long. We have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. Hundreds of small gestures.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday today, final day of February. Looking rather quiet, but March comes in like a lion, and we'll show that in a second. A live look at our tower cam right now. A few passing clouds, but other than that, quiet weather. It is breezy and cold out, though. The wind chills are making those feels-like temperatures fall down into the low 20s and upper teens. So 20s in the Mohawk Valley, low 30s in parts of the southern valleys, and a few more clouds to the south, as well as even a few flurries that are gradually weakening as they continue their way eastward. But most of the radar is rather quiet. Zooming out, this cold front that moved through earlier today is now approaching the shores of the Atlantic coast. In the wake of that, colder air is moving in, but as soon as it moves in, warmer air is dragging its way in from the south and west. And I'll show that in a second, how this will impact the weather for tomorrow. But quickly, I want to showcase the temperature trend because it's going to be a cold weekend. Saturday and Sunday, the high for Saturday is in the morning. We actually cool down into the teens, so this number looks a little deceiving. Sunday high of 20, Monday 27, then into the 40s, approaching 50 by next week. So a major shift in the weather pattern by the middle of next week. But let's focus more in on the weekend. So as that front moves through, or that low pressure system moves through, temperatures cool down throughout Saturday, winds pick up, and blowing snow takes place. I don't think it'll be at least a heavy amount of snowfall accumulation, but with the strong winds, it's going to produce the potential for reduced visibility. It's a little breezy and cold on Sunday, but it's going to be sunny, so a lot less of active weather for the second half of the weekend. So here's the reason why. Here's that low pressure that moves in from the west. It moves in, initially snow north, snow and rain mixing into the Mohawk Valley, and in the wake of this, a secondary stronger cold front rolls through, drags in this Arctic air in place, indicated by this purple and pink. But notice, following that, look at all this warmer air that eventually moves in. This Arctic air is temporary, and this is why this cold air is only for the weekend. So on our Skycast today, a few clouds increase this evening, followed by rain and snow. Mainly snow up north, a mix of rain and snow in the Mohawk Valley, as those temperatures climb above freezing before early tomorrow morning, and then fall below freezing throughout the day tomorrow, with a mix of snow and winds across the board as lake effect winds down and shifts south. Then things quiet down and cool down below zero in some spots by early Sunday morning, and it's a cold day Sunday. High temperatures peaking in the upper teens, overnight lows falling near or below zero. When it comes to snowfall from tonight through Saturday, as you can see here, 2 to 5 inches to the north, trace to 2 to the south. There won't be a whole lot when it comes to accumulation. Maybe a couple more spots up north could see a little bit higher, but it's a very elevation-based event here. And following that, of course, the temperatures, although initially cold Sunday and Monday, warm up into the 40s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. We'll be right back.